What is happening at Liverpool right now? Galatasaray fans banned from Anfield, Trent could return soon, Klopp's shock comeback rumours, and Arne Slot furious after the Wolves loss. Stay with us for the latest Liverpool updates, transfer news and breaking stories. And don't forget to subscribe for daily Liverpool news. Galatasaray fans banned from Anfield for Liverpool Champions League clash. UEFA has confirmed the Turkish side will not be allowed to bring supporters to Anfield following an incident that occurred in the recent Champions League playoff against Juventus. Galatasaray fans will be banned from attending Anfield for the Champions League last 16 second leg against Liverpool in 2 weeks. The Turkish champions have confirmed they plan to appeal the decision, which comes after ugly scenes in the playoff tie against Juventus last week. The Turkish champions have confirmed they plan to appeal the decision, which comes after ugly scenes in the playoff tie against Juventus last week. Reports in Italy claimed a man and his daughter were injured after fireworks were directed towards the Juventus fans, with Galatasaray supporters also clashing with the police. Galatasaray was fined €40,000 or $46,000 or £35,000, but has confirmed it plans to challenge the ruling. In a statement, Galatasaray said, due to the fan incidents that occurred during our UEFA Champions League match against Juventus on February 25, 2026, the UEFA Disciplinary Committee has decided to fine our club €40,000 and impose a penalty of playing our next away match behind closed doors. An appeal will be filed with the UEFA Appeals Committee against this decision. We inform the public accordingly. Galatasaray lost 3-0 in Italy last week after 90 minutes, but scored twice in extra time to win 7-5 on aggregate and progress to the last 16 of the Champions League. Liverpool travels to Istanbul for the first leg on March 10th, with the return fixture following 8 days later at Anfield. The winner will face Manchester City or Real Madrid in the quarter-finals. Liverpool has already faced Galatasaray this season, losing 1-0 in Istanbul in September. The home supporters also made headlines on that occasion by lighting fireworks outside Liverpool's team hotel. Given the possibilities of the draw, we got exactly what we anticipated, and that is a tough last 16 draw against an opponent we have faced once already this season, Slot told Liverpool's official website after the draw was made. We know in the away leg we will have to perform better than the last time we were in Istanbul back in September. That is our immediate challenge in this tie, especially as we know Galatasaray had such a positive result against Juventus to reach the last 16. But the main feeling is excitement, because this is what we worked so hard for in the league stage. We wanted to be here, and now we want to make the most of being here. In another news, residents' anger as first council block outside London falls into disrepair. The Grade 2 listed Elden Grove tenement block was the first of its kind built outside London when it opened in 1912. Exasperated residents are locked in a dispute with developers over the failure to renovate a crumbling Edwardian tenement block, which was the first of its type to be constructed outside London. Locals claim the rundown Grade 2 listed Elden Grove apartment block and gardens in Vauxhall, Liverpool, is drawing vandals and drug users who are making their lives a misery. The striking building, which stands among tidy streets of Edwardian houses on the peaceful and charming Elden Grove estate, was inaugurated in 1912, but it deteriorated in the early 2000s. Efforts to renovate the building stopped in 2020, and the site has declined further, residents claim. It was opened by the Countess of Derby, and the tenements, which were formerly described as the city's finest, are now thought to be the last surviving original style of its kind in the area. Legendary Liverpool manager Bill Shankly even once visited the apartment block when he was in charge of the Reds in 1965 and watched a kids' game of street football which took place in the playground below. For the past 2 decades, frustrated residents say it has drawn young troublemakers who graffiti, take drugs, play loud music and start fires inside the complex. They also maintain the streets are plagued by vermin, including rats and mice. Disturbing drone footage reveals the enormous gaps in the roof, wild overgrowth, and mountains of rubbish strewn across the site. Planning approval to convert it into a cutting-edge apartment development was granted by Liverpool City Council in 2016. The leaseholders, JGLT Developments Ltd, began construction until it halted around 2020 and hasn't resumed, according to local residents. The project was being carried out in partnership with property development company Bond Street Limited. Locals are now urgently appealing to the firm and the council to resume work on the embarrassing eyesore. Bond Street previously stated in April 2025 they intended to continue redevelopment, but alleged the council was restricting their capacity. Liverpool City Council has repeatedly rejected their assertions, saying it remains their long-term ambition to see the structure restored. John Doyle, 68, a Lib Dem campaigner who has lived across the road for the last 24 years, commented, "If I was ever to win the lottery, I'd buy it and happily fix it up myself. It is an eyesore and everyone wants it sorted out. There are kids that mess around on there, do drugs, play loud music and spray graffiti. I'm more worried about kids getting hurt as it is a tip in there. It feels like action will only be done at this point if someone injures themselves or worse." A local resident who wishes to remain anonymous commented, "It's sad that for so many years it's been left to rot. It's a building that really stands out, and if it was done up, it would look really impressive. But it looks like it's going to go the way of so many fantastic old buildings." Another man, who also declined to be named, remarked, "I don't know how this can be allowed to happen. It could be a beautiful asset to the city. I think the council should be looking at its redevelopment as a matter of urgency." Elden Grove was formerly home to a lively and thriving community, accommodating workers and their families, and later students, before falling into disrepair. In 2011, 2 rough sleepers set fire to it, inflicting additional damage to the structure. Subsequently, in January 2016, proposals were lodged with Liverpool Council to transform the building into a cutting-edge residential development featuring 45 flats, alongside a further 5 housing blocks containing 85 flats. Later that year, in December, the proposals received approval and construction was required to commence within 3 years for the planning consent to stay valid. Redevelopment began with initial renovations appearing encouraging, according to locals, but the work has since ground to a complete halt. In May 2018, CEO Michael King stated he anticipated the development would take around 12 months and would be aiming to have tenants moved in by the following summer. JGLT Developments Ltd was dissolved in September 2020, according to Companies House. The building was once more plagued, with intruders damaging the property and illegally dumping waste on the adjacent land, a problem which current leaseholders Bond Street claim to have spent a fortune rectifying. The most recent developments were scheduled for February 2025, but according to locals, nothing transpired. At the time, Paul Brown, a project manager at Bond Street, accused the council of hindering their progress, alleging there were issues with the lease that only the council could resolve, which they refuted. Residents report that no work has been carried out on the site since 2020 and are left wondering whether work will ever resume. Bond Street previously stated in 2025 that they were all systems go on the project. A spokesperson for Liverpool City Council said, "Elden Grove is a privately owned Grade 2 listed building with an extant planning permission for redevelopment. Whilst the council does not own or control the site, we engage with the owner through the planning and regeneration process and take action where appropriate on safety, cleanliness, and antisocial behaviour. We remain clear that the long-term ambition is to see this historically significant building restored and brought back into productive use for the benefit of the Vauxhall community." Boss Street, Liverpool. Limited have been contacted for a comment. In another news, Liverpool told whether hiring Xabi Alonso would solve their issues. Arne Slot's Liverpool future has been questioned since the first 5 games of the Premier League season. Going into the 2025-26 campaign, The Dutchman's future was the last thing on anyone's mind. But now that the Anfield outfit are sitting outside of the top 4 spots, it's all that anyone wants to talk about. Due to the constant commotion, other managers are waiting for their chance to take the Reds' hot seat. Several names have already been linked with taking over, such as Xabi Alonso, and while most fans believe the Spaniard would be the right man to take the Reds forward, some don't feel the same way. Stephen Warnock believes Xabi Alonso would be a bad hire for Liverpool. A lot of the fans campaigning for Alonso to become Liverpool's next manager are likely leaning on his history with the club to try and improve things at Anfield. Indeed, his Bundesliga win with Bayer Leverkusen is also a massive selling point. But his poor run of form with Real Madrid is a major concern. These are also the thoughts of former Liverpool ace Stephen Warnock, who thinks that Alonso would be more of a nostalgic hire than a step in the right direction. I'm not too sure whether that's the right decision, hiring Alonso. That's more of a nostalgia thing where people want that romance, he said in quotes, relayed by BBC Sport. At Real Madrid, the football wasn't fantastic, but he had a very difficult changing room and tried to change the culture. Liverpool shouldn't give up on Arne Slot just yet. Even though Liverpool's Premier League season has been a bit of a write-off this term, there's still no need for FSG to jump the gun and sack Slot. Indeed, it's taken a lot of time for his new signings to get used to the Premier League and the way that the Anfield outfit play, but now that they've had time to gel with one another and understand, things are finally starting to come together. Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike are the two best examples of Slot's system actually working for Liverpool. The new 4-2-3-1 formation has brought many changes to the way that they play, but now that each player knows their role and knows exactly what to do, everything is working out. Slot still has the rest of the 2025-26 season to prove his worth, and if he manages to bring the Champions League back to Anfield, there's going to be a lot of people eating their words. Indeed, this could all change in the summer if the Reds get knocked out, but for now, there's no reason for them to give up hope just yet. In another news, stunning Klopp returned to management now inevitable as Real Madrid. Liverpool learn huge decision. A Sky Sports reporter is the latest to strongly suggest Jurgen Klopp is returning to management, backing up claims from Team Talk sources. And if Liverpool don't show a ruthless streak by sacking Arne Slot, they'll likely lose the German to Real Madrid. Klopp left Liverpool as a godlike figure in 2024, and by all accounts had no intentions of ever returning to management. The 58-year-old assumed a role as head of global soccer with Red Bull, though reports continue to filter in on Klopp's dissatisfaction in the role. L'Équipe stated on Tuesday that Klopp is increasingly likely to be heading for the exit at Red Bull. They went on to add, Klopp is no longer enjoying unanimous backing, with several of his recent decisions coming under scrutiny, and with talk of a potential summer departure now growing. In the event Klopp does take his leave from Red Bull, there'll be no shortage of clubs knocking at his door. However, while interest will be rampant, there are only a handful of jobs Klopp would realistically take. He has publicly admitted he'll never manage another English club, aside from Liverpool, out of respect for the Reds. From a Premier League perspective, it's Liverpool or bust. His past ties to Borussia Dortmund likely rule out a move to Bayern Munich, and the current state of Serie A is not one that's conducive to attracting one of the world's best managers who isn't Italian. From Spain, Barcelona are more than happy with Hansi Flick, leaving Real Madrid as Liverpool's only true rival if they push to bring Klopp back. Countless reports in Spain, some from reliable outlets, others less so, have gone big on claims Klopp will move to Madrid at season's end. Alvaro Arbeloa is in charge only in an interim capacity, and his slow start suggests he has no chance of getting the nod outright. What's more, if there's one manager in world football with the character and personality big enough to handle Real Madrid's current crop of divas, it's Klopp. Of course, Liverpool could throw a spanner in Real's machine by sacking Slot and bringing Klopp back. The humbling 2-1 defeat to Wolves on Tuesday night was the latest in a long line of embarrassments for the club under Slot this term. If Liverpool fail to qualify for the Champions League, sources indicate it's entirely possible Slot is removed from power in the summer. But according to the latest from Sky Sports reporter Sasha Tavalieri, the ball is very much in Real Madrid's court right now, and the claims Klopp is warming to returning to management will go down well in the Spanish capital. Tavalieri explained, Jurgen Klopp's future could be written sooner than expected, away from the office and back on the sidelines. Just a few months after joining Red Bull GmbH, the former Liverpool FC manager is already feeling the urge to coach on a daily basis. His current role, more strategic than sporting, has distanced him from the locker room, pre-match talks, and the emotional intensity that shaped his career. Klopp now occupies a general supervisory position, far removed from the direct management of a professional squad. Internally, some decisions made in recent months have reportedly not yielded the desired results. While not a major failure, the current dynamic is said to be less than satisfactory, and the sporting structure may need to evolve before next season. In this context, Klopp's departure is no longer a marginal possibility. After declaring Real Madrid awaiting in ambush, the reporter added, "One club continues to monitor the situation closely, Real Madrid, CF. For several years, the Madrid management has appreciated his profile, his charisma, and his ability to launch winning cycles. For now, no formal contact has been established, but Real Madrid has never completely abandoned the idea of one day having the German on its bench. And should he return to a club, Madrid would currently be the only destination capable of truly enticing him." Tavalieri then reaffirmed it's Liverpool and Liverpool alone from an English perspective if Klopp does return to management. But unless the Reds get ruthless and sack Slot, there'll be no job to offer. Klopp to Real Madrid or Liverpool, what our sources are saying. With reports gathering pace that Klopp would be tempted by a move to the Bernabeu, Team Talk has done our own digging into the speculation. And our reporter, Graham Bailey, speaking to sources, admits there is a growing possibility that a high-profile move is on the cards. My belief from talking to people who know Klopp well is that he will be back in management and maybe as soon as this summer, Bailey exclusively told Team Talk. As we have reported, he is very much at the top of Real Madrid's list, and I am told they are set to move on from Arbeloa. Klopp is open to Madrid. More than that, he is keen. He likes the squad, but also knows he can make his own mark. In terms of Liverpool, he loves the club and city, but he won't be back. He has done his Premier League thing and there is no appetite on his side. Likewise, Liverpool don't seem ready to reopen that chapter. Arne Slot is feeling the pressure. He knows he needs Champions League football, but Liverpool don't want to sack him. Whether they have little choice but to do so is another matter. Latest Liverpool and Real Madrid news. Slot sack, new winger, Man City raid. Elsewhere, two reporters who specialise in covering Liverpool have eviscerated the Reds after the humbling 2-1 defeat to Wolves, and talk of Arne Slot getting the sack is whipping up once again. In other news, Liverpool have reportedly been forced to turn to a blockbuster alternative deal as a move for dream target. Michael Olise has been deemed impossible. Over at the Bernabeu, Fabrizio Romano has dropped a tantalising update on Real Madrid raiding Manchester City for a genuine superstar on the back of jaw-dropping reports out of Spain. In another news, Trent Alexander-Arnold gets thumbs up to complete Liverpool return amid Anfield issues. Liverpool have struggled to fill the void left by Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been backed to rejoin Liverpool amid concerns surrounding Connor Bradley's fitness. Right back has proved a problematic position for the Reds since Alexander-Arnold departed for Real Madrid last summer. Summer signing Jeremy Frimpong has battled injury problems, while Bradley is sidelined for the rest of the season following knee surgery. Arne Slot has had to improvise with centre-back Joe Gomez and midfielders Wataru Endo, Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai being utilised on the right side of defence at various points. Meanwhile, Alexander-Arnold's difficult debut season in Madrid, during which he has failed to cement a first-team spot, has sparked speculation that he could return to his boyhood club. That possibility is backed by former Reds right-back Glenn Johnson, who is also an admirer of Bradley. He told Boyle Sport, "Who would be my choice to be Liverpool's starting right-back next season? You'd love to see Trent back, of course you would. Should Alexander-Arnold not return, Johnson is confident Bradley can secure the position long-term, provided he can overcome his injury troubles." He continued, "In terms of the future of Liverpool, I think as long as he comes back fit, Connor Bradley for me, as long as he can recover from that injury. Obviously, it's a nasty one. As long as he can get back to fitness and get games under his belt, match fitness, confidence, and kick on from his previous best, then I think you've got a fantastic right back there. Bradley looks more athletic, stronger, with more desire to defend, but keen to get forward in attacks as well. So I think, all round, he would be the man for me." Johnson still sees a place for Frimpong, adding, "Against certain teams that are going to sit back and need to be broken down, then Jeremy Frimpong could be the answer for certain home games and things like that." The now-fit Frimpong occupied Liverpool's right-back position during the 2-1 loss at bottom-placed Wolves, stepping in for Gomez in the starting 11. With options limited, he could retain his spot for Friday's FA Cup fifth-round tie at Molineux. In another news, Arne Slot bemoans Liverpool's constant issue that sums up their season after Wolves' loss. Liverpool were beaten in stoppage time at Wolves, as Arne Slot again took issue with their struggles in the final third, as the Reds found it difficult to breach the Premier League's basement outfit. Arne Slot claimed that Liverpool's inability to make the most of chances from open play cost them at Wolves, but it sums up their season. The Premier League's bottom side claimed another memorable victory as they scored a stoppage-time winner to down the Reds, putting a dent in their Champions League hopes. Liverpool had come from behind to equalise, but then conceded again late on. Liverpool's goal came from a mistake, which allowed Mohamed Salah to score in the league for the first time in more than 100 days. Otherwise, chances were few and far between, with Slot admitting his side struggle to penetrate teams when they sit deep. It has been a drum he's been banging all year, bemoaning the low blocks that his team have to face, and again was highlighting his team's failure to make the most of their possession. He said, "Same old story. Recently, we are picking up points because many times we've scored from set pieces, but what did not change in the last 5, 6 or 7 games is that we struggle and find it very hard to score from the open play chances that we do create. Not as many as I would like from all the ball possession we have, but enough and far more than the other team. But end result, we score 1 and they score 2, and indeed another time in extra time, so it sums up our season again in this game as well." Liverpool remain in 5th, the last Champions League qualifying position, but Chelsea can leapfrog them if they beat Aston Villa on Wednesday night. The champions have endured a notable fall from grace, and the reverse at Molineux was their 9th of the season, 5 more than they suffered last season. Skipper Virgil van Dijk reflected, "Today we had the majority of possession, but we were still making the wrong decisions, I think, and couldn't find the end product. In the end, we're just disappointed that we lost it today." Liverpool have been unable to deal with several of the tactical pillars that provide the foundation for success, with Jamie Carragher also highlighting their failure to deal with teams who sit deep. He said recently, "The real worry I have for Liverpool in actually qualifying for the Champions League is, if I think of the 3 big things you come up against in the Premier League, it's set pieces and long throws, it's counter-attacking football for and against, and if you are a top team like Liverpool, it's coming up against low blocks. Liverpool can't cope with any of them." That's all for today's Liverpool update. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Liverpool news, transfers and match updates. Thanks for watching and see you in the next update.